I'm much closer to Tawny and Gwen than I am to Ripley. I really enjoyed playing her. When I first wanted to be in it, I was told, no, they don't want anyone who's ever done science fiction to be in this movie.
Before it became a cult legend, Galaxy Quest was almost dismissed as a quirky parody destined to fade. Yet, behind the laughs, malfunctioning teleporters, and heroic misfits lies a treasure trove of bizarre behind-the-scenes stories. From near-canceled disasters to actors who never expected sci-fi immortality, this 1999 comedy hid secrets stranger than its aliens. Some facts reshaped careers. Others nearly derailed the film entirely. So buckle up as we dive into the 25 weird facts you didn't know about Galaxy Quest. Number 25. The comic book sequel fans never gave up on. Years later, the story refused to fade into memory. IDW brought the universe back to life with Galaxy Quest. Global warning. And suddenly, the adventure was on again. The same beloved crew returned, older, wiser, and just as hopelessly unprepared for what awaited them. The uniforms were familiar, the banter was still sharp, and the chaos? Bigger, louder, and far more unpredictable. This wasn't just another spin-off or a half-hearted continuation. It felt like a true return, crafted with care for the fans who never stopped believing there was more to tell. Old friendships were tested, new dangers emerged, and the line between acting and real heroism blurred once again. Global Warning wasn't just a sequel. It was a long-awaited return, letting fans laugh, worry, and cheer with beloved characters. What other weird fact is there to know about Galaxy Quest? What was the revenue recorded? Let's find out. Number 24. A modest hit that became sacred. Made on a modest $45 million budget, Galaxy Quest quietly earned just over $90 million worldwide. That number didn't shake Hollywood. It didn't break records. It didn't dominate headlines. At the time, it seemed like a decent win. Nothing more. But Galaxy Quest wasn't built for quick glory. Galaxy Quest grew with time, winning fans, inspiring endless quotes, and earning praise as a heartfelt tribute to sci-fi. While flashier films disappeared, Galaxy Quest endured. It refused to be forgotten. Without noise or hype, it carved out a lasting place in pop culture. It didn't just survive, it never surrendered. Is there another weird fact about the movie? Let's delve into the details of the villain who was named after a critic. Number 23. Galaxy Quest's clever Hollywood inside joke. Here's a fun behind-the-scenes twist that makes Galaxy Quest even more amusing. Remember the film's main villain, the sharp-toothed, intimidating Saras? According to reports, his name wasn't chosen at random. The character was supposedly named after Andrew Saras, a well-known and influential film critic of his time. Why him? Because Andrew Saras had been very vocal about his strong dislike for The Natural, an earlier movie produced by Mark Johnson. Instead of firing back in interviews or starting a public feud, the filmmakers took a quieter, more playful route. They slipped a little inside joke into Galaxy Quest by turning the critic's name into that of the movie's villain. It was a subtle nod that most viewers never noticed, but for those in the know, it added an extra layer of humor. This clever move shows how filmmakers sometimes respond to criticism, not with anger, but with creativity, wit, and a mischievous sense of fun. Hollywood loves hiding secrets like this. Was there any badly written episode? How was it rectified? Let's dive into the details of the lines that caused controversy. Number 22. The line, "The studio tried to erase. The hallway is blowing apart." pistons slam into the walls. Huge metal jaws snap open and shut. Everything is loud, wild, and out of control. That single line broke the fourth wall completely. It caught everyone off guard. It was bold. It was honest. And it was brilliant. Somehow, against all odds, it made us believe in the impossible. But the studio didn't agree. They said it was too goofy, too clever for its own good, too aware of itself. They wanted the line removed. Sigourney Weaver said no. She understood something deeper. That moment wasn't just meant to be funny. It was a release. It spoke for every actor forced to say lines that made no sense, for every viewer who spotted gaps in the story but kept watching anyway, for everyone who loved science fiction, even with all its imperfections. Galaxy Quest may have been fiction, but its spirit continues to inspire, boldly, brilliantly, forever. The line stayed, and it didn't just survive, it became legendary. Which other weird fact surrounds Galaxy Quest? Let's dig into the details of the continuation that failed. Number 21. The sequel that couldn't happen. In the early 2010s, excitement buzzed around a long-awaited sequel. The actors were on board, full of energy and enthusiasm. Scripts were drafted, storylines carefully crafted, and fans began to dream of returning to that beloved world. Everything seemed set in motion for a triumphant comeback. But then, the unthinkable happened. Alan Rickman, the irreplaceable heart of the story, passed away. His loss left a hole that nothing could fill. Plans stalled, discussions faded, and the project quietly came to a stop, never making it to the screens. The cast and crew felt the weight of the void, knowing deep down that the magic of the story hinged on his presence. Tim Allen captured it perfectly, saying simply but profoundly, "We just couldn't do it without him." It was a reminder that some performances, some lives, leave a mark so powerful that no sequel, no script, no effort could ever replicate. Did you hear about the mockumentary that humbled Galaxy Quest? What exactly transpired? Let's find out. Number 20. The fake documentary that fooled real people. E! once aired a mockumentary that treated Galaxy Quest as if it were a real, long-forgotten television series from the past. It was presented with such confidence, complete with serious interviews, nostalgic commentary, and behind-the-scenes style storytelling, that some viewers didn't realize it was a joke. Instead of seeing it as satire, they actually believed Galaxy Quest had truly existed before the movie. That's what made it so clever. It wasn't just a parody of classic sci-fi shows. It was a parody pretending to be a documentary about that parody. The joke ran so deep that it fooled part of the audience, blurring the line between fiction and reality. In the end, it became comedy layered on top of comedy. A playful trick that perfectly captured the spirit of Galaxy Quest, proving how powerful storytelling can be when it commits fully to the illusion. What is the next weird fact about Galaxy Quest? What does the script say? Let's take a look at the details of the line that almost disappeared. Number 19. I have one job on this lousy ship. Another line almost disappeared from the script. Look, I have one job on this lousy ship. It's stupid, but I'm going to do it. The studio didn't like it. They said it sounded too harsh, too real, too angry. They wanted it softened, trimmed, or removed altogether. But Sigourney Weaver refused to let it go. She understood what that moment meant. That single sentence carried Gwen's whole journey. A woman pushed to the background, forced to repeat words written for her, treated as small and replaceable. In that line, Gwen finally speaks for herself. She admits the job isn't glamorous, but she claims it anyway. She chooses dignity over silence. Weaver fought hard, and she won. The line stayed, and something unexpected happened. Those few words became more than dialogue. They became a voice for every ignored character, every overlooked worker, every person who decided that even if the role seems small, it still deserves respect. What is the next fact on the list? Whose career was affected? What risky decision did he take? Let's find out. Number 18. The choice that saved Tim Allen's career. At a turning point in his career, Tim Allen faced a quiet but risky decision. Two scripts sat on his table. One was Bicentennial Man, serious, emotional, polished. The kind of film built for awards and red carpets. Safe, respectable, important. The other was Galaxy Quest, a strange, self-aware comedy, poking fun at sci-fi, fame, and actors stuck living off past glory. Studios didn't know how to sell it. Many thought it was a mistake waiting to happen. Allen chose the joke. Why? Because he understood Jason Nesmith, a once famous actor clinging to relevance, pretending the spotlight never moved on. Allen saw himself in that truth and leaned into it. Here's the irony. Bicentennial Man collapsed at the box office and faded fast. Galaxy Quest did the opposite. It grew. It lasted. It became a cult classic loved by fans, actors, and filmmakers alike. That single choice didn't just give Tim Allen a memorable role. It reshaped audience views forever. Another weird fact targets classic sci-fi. Which film is it? Who were those involved? Let's delve into the details. Number 17. The hidden tribute to classic sci-fi. The name Klaatu Nebula was no accident. It was a quiet, thoughtful tribute to the classic film The Day the Earth Stood Still. Far from being a random sci-fi reference, it was a deliberate nod to one of the genre's most influential stories, one that shaped how science fiction speaks about humanity, fear, and hope. What makes this even more fascinating is the contrast. The film that used the name playfully poked fun at sci-fi cliches, exaggerating alien encounters and heroic tropes in a way that felt light and humorous. Yet beneath that humor was deep respect. It didn't laugh at science fiction. It laughed with it. By honoring an earlier masterpiece, the creators showed that parody doesn't mean disrespect. You can challenge a genre, joke about its excesses, and still admire its foundations. The Klaatu Nebula stands as a clever reminder that great storytelling knows where it comes from, even when it chooses to bend the rules. The next weird fact is about a joke that was taken too fat. Who made the joke? What was it about? Let's delve into the details of the expensive joke. Number 16. Alan Rickman took the joke. Deadly seriously. Dr. Lazarus should have been a joke. A stiff rubber forehead. A silly alien voice that sounded borrowed from a cheap sci-fi show. Everything about the role screamed parody. It was meant to be laughed at, not believed. But Alan Rickman refused to play it that way. He approached the character with the seriousness of classical theater, as if every line mattered. When the Thermians began to mourn, Rickman did not wink at the joke or soften the moment. He spoke with honest pain, steady breath, and deep respect for the scene. The crew felt it instantly. Laughter vanished. The set grew quiet. What had been written as satire transformed into something heavy and human. The grief felt real because he treated it as real. Under layers of latex and absurd makeup stood a master actor who would not coast, would not mock the work. and would not betray the truth of the moment. It elevated comedy into lasting art. Which royal character was played in the film? In what context? Let's dive into the details of the honor that made fans laugh. Number 15. Sir Alexander Dane, well, sort of. In the world of Galaxy Quest, Alexander Dane, the actor Rickman brought to life, was actually meant to receive an honorary knighthood from none other than Queen Elizabeth herself. On paper, it sounds like a perfect honor, a moment where fiction and reality collide in the most glamorous way. But Rickman had his doubts. He felt that such a grand ceremonial moment didn't quite fit the personality of Dane, a man often grumbling, serious, and more concerned with his craft than flashy public recognition. Despite Rickman's reservations, the filmmakers still leaned into the joke. In the movie's credits, Alexander Dane is proudly listed as Sir Alexander Dane, leaving fans chuckling at the contrast between the pomp of a royal title and the often exasperated, sarcastic character they had come to know. It's one of those little details that make the film so delightfully playful, blurring the lines between the character and the legend surrounding him. A character was supposed to die, but didn't. Which character was it? What was the role? Let's dig into the details. Number 14. The character who was supposed to die. Guy Fleegman was supposed to be just a tiny joke, a character so minor he barely mattered. Then Sam Rockwell arrived on set. Everything changed. He didn't just act the part. He became Fleegman. Every moment of panic, every flash of fear, every tiny hint of trauma, the kind of fear you feel when you're crewman number 6, a man without a name or identity, was all improvised. None of it existed in the original script. The director saw something special and let him take the reins. What began as a simple, funny side note slowly transformed into something deeper, richer, and unexpectedly moving. Fleegman, the nobody, the comic relief, grew into one of the story's most unforgettable journeys. Audiences laughed. Yes, but they also rooted for him. By the end, the throwaway gag had become a testament to survival, courage, and the quiet power of being overlooked, and somehow still standing. Was the film made to accommodate children? Were there adult scenes in it? Let's find out what the next fact is. Number 13. Galaxy Quest was never meant for kids. Most people remember Galaxy Quest as a charming, family-friendly sci-fi classic, but that's not how it started. The original cut was far rougher. There was more swearing, more violence, and a sharper edge. Tim Allen let loose with curses, and Sigourney Weaver went even further. In the infamous Chompers scene, she clearly mouthed an F word. You can see it if you watch closely, but no audience member ever heard it. In post-production, DreamWorks panicked. They glimpsed huge holiday box office potential, but only if the film could be marketed to families. Lines were awkwardly dubbed over with "screw that." Violent scenes were trimmed, and the overall tone softened just enough to earn a PG rating. It was messy. It was rushed. But it worked. Instead of fading into the sea of crude parodies, Galaxy Quest became something rare, a sci-fi satire with heart. The humor stayed sharp, the cruelty disappeared, and that delicate balance turned it into a beloved classic. The next fact is about a calm guy in the film. Who is the character? Could he have been the calmest on Earth? Let's take a look at the details. Number 12. The calmest man in the galaxy. While chaos erupted all around him, Fred Kwan remained strangely silent. Screams pierced the air, panic swirled, and everyone seemed on the edge of losing control. But not him. Tony Shalhoub, who played Fred, had a simple but powerful idea. His character wouldn't react with fear. Instead, he would feel wonder, not confusion, not foolishness, not even a hint of intoxication, just calm, quiet acceptance. It was as if the universe's chaos didn't touch him. And somehow, it worked perfectly. In a world where everyone else was running, yelling, and panicking, Fred moved with a serene curiosity, observing the madness rather than being swallowed by it. His peace stood out like a single steady star in a sky of fire. While others flailed, he simply existed, present, unshaken, and strangely enlightened. In a story of frenzy, Fred Kwan was the one character who had already understood the beauty hidden in the chaos. Who was the unknown actor who caught the attention of others? How did they react to his work? Let's talk about another weird fact. Number 11. Justin Long wasn't the safe choice. Before anything, Justin Long was just another unknown actor, a face no one recognized. The studio behind the project wanted someone established, someone the audience would immediately trust. But Long had something far more powerful than fame, an energy that came from pure, genuine passion. He wasn't polished or practiced. He was that awkward, over-the-top fan we've all seen at conventions, the one who lives and breathes the thing he loves. That raw excitement, that honest devotion, can't be taught or faked, and it shone through every time he auditioned. Casting directors couldn't ignore it. It was this blend of awkwardness and authenticity that captured their attention, proving that sometimes the magic isn't in being perfect, it's in being real. That sincerity didn't just win him the role, it opened the door to a career that would grow far beyond what anyone expected. Justin Long had arrived, and there was no turning back. Was there a promise of continuity? Were the fans' expectations met? Let's delve into the details of the long-awaited return. Number 10. Inside the Easter Egg. At the very end of Galaxy Quest, audiences are treated to a surprising and playful hint. A trailer announcing the return of the beloved fictional television show, making its comeback a full 18 years after it originally aired. This clever nod immediately sparks curiosity and nostalgia, especially for fans who remember the series fondly. Interestingly, this isn't the first time such a long gap has occurred in science fiction television history. Star Trek, one of the most iconic franchises of all time, experienced a strikingly similar hiatus between two of its TV series, stretching exactly 18 years, from the end of the original series in 1969 to the premiere of The Next Generation in 1987. Yet, just like in Galaxy Quest, the feature films released in between these series were not counted as part of that break. This subtle parallel adds an extra layer of wit and homage, making the connection between the two franchises both entertaining and surprisingly meaningful for fans who love spotting these kinds of insider references. A particular scene came up suddenly. What prompted the scene? Why was it used? Let's find out. Number 9. The action scene that was never planned. Jason Nesmith wasn't meant to have a showdown. At first, it seemed obvious. Where was the captain's big heroic moment? The story didn't call for it, but the question lingered, and the writers scrambled almost overnight to create something memorable. They threw together a scene on a barren desert planet with nothing but sand, sun, and a giant rock monster. No careful planning, no shiny polish, just imagination running wild. And then it happened. Tim Allen, in full hero mode, yelling at a massive, immovable boulder. The scene was ridiculous, almost nonsensical, but that's exactly what made it shine. It was loud, it was messy, It was over the top, and yet somehow it worked. Fans laughed, gasped, and remembered it for decades. Absurd? Absolutely. Iconic? Without a doubt. Perfect? In its own chaotic, hilarious, unforgettable way, it captured the spirit of the film, a moment that wasn't supposed to exist, but became legendary anyway. What is the next weird fact on the list? What got the fans talking about the screening? Let's delve into the details. Number 8. The convention screening that changed everything. When fans packed into the convention hall, they came ready for serious space adventures, high-stakes battles, epic heroes, and intergalactic drama. Instead, what greeted them was Galaxy Quest. At first, there was confusion. What was this? The familiar tropes twisted, the dialogue oddly funny, the characters strangely human. Then came the laughter, genuine, uncontrollable laughter that spread through the crowd like wildfire. Scenes that should have felt serious now sparkled with wit, yet underneath there was something else: heart. Applause followed, tentative at first, then growing louder with every clever line and every perfectly timed moment. By the time the final scene rolled, the entire audience leapt to their feet. Standing ovation. They weren't just entertained, they were touched. They realized this film wasn't mocking the genre they loved. It wasn't a parody. It was something far rarer. A celebration, a tribute, a love letter to every fan who ever dreamed of the stars. Was Galaxy Quest among the first films to have a website? Is it still functional? Let's find out. Number 7. The Galaxy Quest, world that never really existed. Even though GalaxyQuest.com no longer exists, it was once a wild, hilarious part of the Galaxy Quest experience. The website didn't just serve as a typical movie page. It fully committed to the joke that Galaxy Quest was a real TV show. From the moment you landed on it, the site treated visitors as if the series were genuinely on air, with its actors as actual stars. It didn't stop at pretending. The site went above and beyond, offering a massive collection of fake episode guides, behind-the-scenes content, and clever in-universe references that made the illusion feel completely real. Fans could dive in and explore the show as if it had been running for years, laughing along at the meticulous detail the creators put into maintaining the ruse. It was more than a movie tie-in. It was an immersive, interactive joke that let audiences step inside the Galaxy Quest universe, blurring the line between fiction and reality in the most entertaining way imaginable. Who called Galaxy Quest a Star Trek movie? What informed such a perspective? Let's dig into the details. Number 6. Wil Wheaton called it the most honest Star Trek movie. Wil Wheaton understood fandom in a way few could. He didn't just watch fans, he lived among them, feeling their passion, quirks, and devotion from the inside out. So when he spoke about Galaxy Quest, his words carried weight. To him, it wasn't the sleek starships or the futuristic gadgets that made the movie special. It wasn't even the clever sci-fi stories or the polished effects. What truly set it apart was something deeper, something almost invisible but impossible to ignore: the fans themselves. Galaxy Quest didn't just show fans, it celebrated them. It captured their excitement, their loyalty, their endless love for the worlds they inhabited and the stories they believed in. Wheaton saw in it a mirror of real fandom: the joy, the obsession, the sense of belonging. In a way, the film became a tribute to the people who keep the magic alive long after the credits roll. The fans, he said, were the real stars. What would make a superstar doubt the success of Galaxy Quest in the beginning? Who had his doubts? Let's talk about the details. Number 5. Patrick Stewart thought he'd hate it. When Patrick Stewart first heard about the movie, he couldn't help but roll his eyes in disbelief. Another film? Really? He wasn't expecting much. Just another story that would pass and be forgotten. But curiosity got the better of him, and he decided to watch it. From the very first scene, something shifted. He laughed out loud, surprised at how much joy the story brought him. Then, unexpectedly, tears welled in his eyes, drawn out by moments so tender, so raw, that they struck a chord deep within him. He watched, captivated, as the characters moved across the screen, and slowly he saw himself reflected in them, the struggles, the triumphs, the quiet humanity he recognized in his own journey. By the end, Patrick Stewart was silent for a moment, lost in thought. Then, with a smile, he called it nothing short of brilliant. A movie that wasn't just entertaining, but profoundly touching, unforgettable, and deeply personal. Another weird fact is the visual shift in the cinema. What happened? Why was there a shift? Let's delve into the details. Number 4. A screen that suddenly grew. When the movie first played in theaters, something subtle but brilliant happened that many viewers didn't immediately notice. For the opening 20 minutes, the film stayed within a tight 1.85 to 1 screen ratio, creating a calm, familiar visual feel. Everything looked contained, almost ordinary, just like the world the characters believed they were in. Then came the moment the spaceship touched down on Thermia, and suddenly the screen expanded into a wide 2.35 to 1 ratio. The image literally opened up before the audience's eyes. The universe felt larger, deeper, and far more alive in an instant. This clever shift wasn't just a technical trick. It was a visual shock designed to pull viewers into a new reality, making the alien world feel massive and awe-inspiring. Without a single line of dialogue, the film told you things just got bigger. It was bold, immersive, and absolutely eye-popping. The rank of Galaxy Quest is another weird fact many can't comprehend. Was there another film that outranked it? Let's find out. Number 3. The parody that outranked the real thing. For many years, something truly surprising happened in the world of science fiction movies. Galaxy Quest, a film made as a parody, quietly held a higher Rotten Tomatoes score than every Star Trek movie ever released, even the legendary Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. Yes, a movie that openly joked about sci-fi heroes ended up being rated better than the very stories it was inspired by. This wasn't just about comedy. Galaxy Quest didn't win praise because it made people laugh alone. Critics saw something deeper. Beneath the humor was a sincere love for science fiction, strong storytelling, and characters that felt real and relatable. It poked fun at sci-fi clichés, yet treated the genre with surprising respect. Audiences laughed, but critics leaned in. They admired its heart, its smart writing, and its ability to balance humor with genuine emotion. In the end, Galaxy Quest proved that sometimes a parody can understand a genre better than its most famous originals, and that's what made it unforgettable. Who was the villain in the film? What happened to his voice? Why was he on the verge of failing? Let's find out. Number 2. The villain almost failed because of his voice. At first, Saris did not sound like a true threat. The lines were delivered, but the voice felt thin, calm, almost ordinary. It failed to send a chill through the room. Robin Sachs sensed it instantly. Before anyone could move on, he asked for one more take. He paused, grabbed a cup of coffee, and let the heat and bitterness wake something deeper. He stood taller, tightened his jaw, and let a low growl rise from his chest. When he spoke again, everything changed. The voice was darker, heavier, and alive with danger. It carried anger, hunger, and cold confidence all at once. The room fell silent. This was no longer just a character reading lines. This was a villain breathing. That single decision transformed Cyrus from forgettable to frightening. With one raw performance, the character gained power, presence, and fear. In that moment, the villain was not rewritten, redesigned, or reshot. He was simply found. At last. Truly unforgettable. What is the next weird fact? Could you have imagined that the movie was never about space? How is that so? Let's find out. Number 1. The movie was never about space. Galaxy Quest wasn't created to laugh at science fiction or tear it down. Instead, it explored something far deeper. What happens to heroes when the cameras stop rolling and the applause fades? Writer David Howard looked closely at the real history of Star Trek. The ego clashes among actors, the pain of being trapped in one role, and the powerful devotion of fans who carried the show in their hearts long after it ended. From that research, every character in Galaxy Quest was carefully shaped to reflect a real struggle, a real emotion, and a real human story behind fame. These weren't jokes dressed as characters, they were reflections. The film didn't treat Star Trek as something to be copied or laughed at. It treated it with respect. It understood the love, the sacrifices, and the lasting impact of sci-fi storytelling. That's why Galaxy Quest feels so special. It wasn't making fun of science fiction. It was quietly honoring it. So, which of these weird facts do you think is the craziest? Do they resonate with you? We would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe.